back for another show. What's going on? So before we get started, let's cue my guy Indigo Saint. One moment here. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go. Let's get it. Indigo Saint in the building. Black View Investing. Let's go.
Who's this producer?
Best believe always black or invested. With your money, you ain't gotta be guessing. Profits is what we manifesting. So we binge on our black or investing. Best believe always black or invested. Dark horse in this race, we ain't resting. We got stocks, we got crypto with a blessing. So thank God for that black or investing. Best believe always black or invested.
What's going on, guys? Let's go ahead and share this in our Telegram. Be sure to come over to our Telegram. It's completely free. Links are in the description. Why take on the crypto world by yourself? You can come over, ask questions in a completely free group. So links are in the description for that. We're over 100 members strong right now. Mad props to you, crypto warriors, because I know a lot of you guys are in there. Mad props to you for coming over to the community. Really means a lot to me. And we're going together. That's just simply it. So let's share the screen right here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's get it going. So we're going to do a little PSA today, a little public service announcement for y'all fans out there. Also, we'll have question and answer at the end, as we always do. Okay. We had Bitcoin fall by $4,000. Pretty interesting. Our show before that, we were talking about how it was kind of sitting high on the week chart. So it's pretty funny that, or it's pretty ironic that it did fall. So let's bring out Bitcoin here. We got the day chart up right now, but let's put out the week chart right quick. So on the week, I believe when we were talking, it was, where was it? Might have been right about here. Yeah, right about here or so. It's like, yeah, it's kind of high on the week chart, and we got what we got, right? But one of the things I just really want to keep in people's minds are the 7 hermetic principles. If you never looked at these before, I highly suggest you do. They're principles to life. I know they are attributed to Hermes, but they're older than him, because a lot of people think of Hermes as the trickster god. So I don't want people to think, okay, I'm not going to look at that because this is something having to do with Hermes, right? And this is way older than Hermes, okay? And it's knowledge that I think everyone should have, okay? So definitely check out the 7 hermetic principles, and also check out the Kabbalion. If you come over here to the Telegram, again, completely free. I think I have a link to the Kabbalion here somewhere where you guys can go ahead, check it out and listen to it completely free. I don't know where that link is, but it's in the pinned notes. So something really cool about the Telegram, you can just come over and pinned messages. So that's really neat, really nice. Oops, see here. So let's read this right quick. Everything flows in and out. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Where do we see this? And this is why these things ring so true to me, right? We see this in all of life. We have the 4 seasons. Every year, we have night and day. Every day, night and day. Some day depending on the equinoxes, or night might be longer completing on depending on the equinoxes. But we have this rhythm every day. We have those 4 seasons, depending on where you are, every year. Okay, that's just how it works. And ladies, you know about monthly rhythms. You guys have that every month. Like the principal rhythm, it's just there. It's just there, right? So we got that same type of rhythm and stuff going on with Bitcoin right now. Going back again to the week, you may see it come closer down towards oversold on the weekly chart. Maybe we're in for it to go a little bit more to oversold. Maybe that's the part of Bitcoin's journey that we're in right now. Either way, remember we're looking is the bigger part of the rhythm, which is the rhythm of the halving cycles, in which we're going to have the bullish 2 years that are coming up here. Bitcoin halves in April or May of 2024. So right now, for us, everything is on sale. So it's a beautiful, beautiful time. Beautiful time right now because everything is on sale. Shout out to patrons. If you want to do a step up from the Telegram, the Patreon, where you get a weekly watch list for less than a cup of coffee. And you can look at some of the things that I will be looking at in this nice bargain phase. Okay. One of which I will share with you on the show. So it's just an awesome time because now we have such bargains. Okay. Let's go back here to and bring up our other indicators. So yeah. Also another thing that kind of would have tipped us off. Remember, I was telling you guys that the anniversary of what Nixon did, taking us off the gold standard, was on the 15th. That happened. And then we also had the Russian ruble crash. That happened. Talked about that. So, and we also had a new moon. So a whole energy, if you will, was leading to maybe a Bitcoin fall, right? And we've discussed on here how new moons tend to be a bearish time for Bitcoin and full tend to be a bullish time. So again, we have a full moon coming up on the 30th. So maybe we come back up towards that time. But until that time, we'll probably, where we're at right now, So look who we got in the house here before we move on here. Let me start from the top. Always start from the bottom. What's up, Riviera Group? What's up, GT Nuts? Yeah, GT Nuts. I saw that. What is up, Ace? Going down here. What is up, mainly music? Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, mainly music. That's a good point. We'll get to certain points of that too. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so let's go back here to our chart. A couple things are beeping at us, I think. Let me just change those things that are beeping at us right now. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, there are a couple things that aren't really on a bargain right now. One of which being H bar. It did do its dip. We go out of here and go 2 hour, or not 2 hour, to the day chart. Let's see the other indicators. H bar is still pretty much chilling in the high. Oh wow! Oh, I hadn't seen that it had done this. Wow, it was at about 5.8 cents not too long ago. Let's see. We'll have to go a little bit here. 4 hour chart. So see, this is why this is why you should have some money on the side, just in case you get some of these like kind of flash crashes like this. Um, H bar did dip to around 5.4 cents, but that's like, this is the only time you had. Uh, and then earlier yesterday it was 5.8 cents, and we're right back over here. Good for H bar. Good H bar, bro. I've been scooping up. We've been talking about it for the last 2 weeks. Shout out to you, mainly about it with the Fed now deal, also with the Hyundai and somebody else. So we've been talking about H bar for a while on here. Patrons also, we gave you this. So we've been talking H bar. Like, shout out to the patrons. Shout out to you guys. If you've been listening for the last couple weeks, we've been talking about H bar for quite a while. Was there any new news that dropped today, y'all? Let me know if there's any new news that dropped today. Oh, what's up, Phantom Beats? What's up, Hustle University? What's your opinion on heat high inflation rate? We'll get to that. Andrew Tate might have something to say to that name there, online Hustle University. Andrew Tate might have some things to say there. Oh, what's up, Stacking Satoshis? I missed you over there. Okay, I thought I was at the top. Okay, so let's get back over here. Where are we? Okay, so yeah, so some things are definitely not on a discount, like Hedera. Um, Another thing that surprisingly to me held a lot of its value was CAS. Um, really didn't expect that. Like, it did have its little pullback to 3.5 here, but right back up to 4.1 here. So I have my CAS bags packed. I'm really expecting it to get somewhere near 8 or 9 cents at some point. Let's go. On the 1 week, you can see it's finally kind of rounding this up off here. So we might have a little bit of more stagnation until it gets into this red point of the Wyckoff at some point. And then we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, so CAS, Hedera, they're looking pretty good out here. But one of the things I built mine was XLM. So I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but XLM has had a lot of great news. Great MoneyGram, which we've been over before, but being attached to Coinbase. XLM has just had a ton of news lately. And I've been waiting for some type of back from like 14 to 16 where it was. Wait, where we go? Here. Sorry. Let me go to the day chart. Okay. From the 18 to 16 where it was, and finally getting it in the 11s to 10s was really, really a great time. So I gobbled that up. Um, yeah, Stellar, and the things that it's doing. It's already connected to like CFDC. Um, already like butt buddies with Coinbase. Stellar is one of the ones I'm definitely going to continue to soak up while I can. I definitely believe if we can go back out here on the day chart. Well, actually, it might be easier to see on the week chart. All these prices are making it hard for me to see on the side here. So you can see here. Let me get rid of those indicators. You can see here 2 different bull runs, it making it as high as 80 cents. So for me, this seems like kind of a no-brainer, especially with all the news that we're getting, that here at 11 cents, next bull run, we get somewhere close to here, maybe even top $1. Yeah, Stellar just looks really, really, really fantastic where it is right now. And just it's so nice when you can bring up chart data and you can just see the cycles. Like there's nothing I even need to say other than showing you the cycle right there. Like this is not a guess. This is the chart data right in front of our eyes, right? Beautiful. So Stellar is one of the ones that, to me, like almost a no-brainer. Not financial advice. But yeah, let's get into the questions over here. Okay, it's saying I need to close some windows. So let me close some stuff. Okay. Yeah, GT Nuts. Litecoin is one of those boys that got hit pretty hard. Let's go to LTC. USDC. Okay, there we go. No, Litecoin USDC. Okay, there we go. So all the way down to $64. Like Litecoin, I'm very shocked. Like it did not, it didn't move much at all. It just did not. But again, as we can see here, another one of these ones that we can see every bull run has a very nice time for itself. So Litecoin down here is a bargain. Bargain. Bargain, 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 bargain. Um, like enough said. I mean, I don't have to say anything with that. It's just right. The proof is in the pudding, as they say, right? And really close to oversold. Great right there. Great price right there. Blueface smiling. 19.3 next. 19.3. Oh man, if it gets down to 19.3, I am dancing in the streets, bro. Like, like this is another thing that I wanted to tell you guys. Like, you're gonna get all this news. We saw it 4 years ago. We're gonna get all this news like, oh, Bitcoin this, Bitcoin's that. It's done. Like, we got institutional money coming in now. We got the whole BIS thing happening now. So all of the FUD is just what it is. It's FUD. For us, we should be smiling when we see bargains like this. And should we see 19.3, time to just use that dry, what do they call it? Dry powder that we have sitting to the side and gobble up some of that Bitcoin. Oh man, if it if it goes to 19.3, oh boy, boy, I'm buying a lot. 20K and then 15K BTC on the horizon. Gonna be great buying opportunities this one. Now, who thinks it's going to get down to 15K? I don't know that it'll get down to 15K, but I'm open to hearing why people think so. If we go over here to the chart, to me, I think we've seen like 15K. I don't know if we can get there again. I don't know that we can. Even last, let's look at last halving. We got a low back here, and it didn't touch that low. Even with Rona, it didn't touch that low again. It came close, but it didn't touch it. So we got our low right here. I tried to put a red line there. I'm close. I don't know that we touch it again. I don't know. Maybe a 17 or 18, but I don't know that we can get down to 15. I don't think that we can get down to 15. And the precedent from the last halving is the reason why I say that. But I'm open if you guys have another metric or something else that you're using that says to you, hey, we're going to get down to 15 again. I'm open to hear it. Another reason I don't think we get down to 15 again is like we're close. 15 is close to the last top. I don't think it goes below or at the last top again. 17, I might say, like 18, 19, yeah, but 15, I don't think so. I really don't think so. On heat, what's my opinion on heat or my opinion on the high inflation rate? Basically, my opinion on the high inflation rate really bodes well for crypto to me. There's high inflation worldwide. Again, come on over to the channel www.darkhorsewatcher.com. You can watch the video we just did on the ruble and its crash. So worldwide, currencies are not doing well. These high inflation rates really bode well for crypto. Now, understand when I say that, I do feel bad for everyone in every country that is experiencing these bad inflation rates. I'm just talking specifically as an investor. Okay. So yeah, definitely come over here and check out Russian ruble crashes. What does this mean for crypto? For me, it bodes very well for crypto because it now means, hey, all these other currencies, all these other fiats they need liquidity. They do. But I think this is all part of the quote unquote plan, if you will, to move us away from cash, away from those like fiats and over to crypto. So now crypto is going to be this asset with a whole bunch of liquidity, and not just from us, because really retail, the message to retail here is that crypto is a scam. But now what seems to be happening is retail is putting a lot of their, or excuse me, institutions are putting a lot of their money into crypto, which is then going to have retail money follow them. So really, we are being first on this in this revolutionary new asset. You can almost think about it as like the dot-com bubble, like the first people to invest in those type of computer companies and to realize which computer companies were the best we're sitting very, very pretty. So that was the kind of age of the computer bubble. Now we're moving into the great reset age of crypto. Okay. And us who identifies all the different cryptos that are going to be around and the best ones, we are going to benefit so greatly. Because remember, again, 30 years ago, everybody said the same thing about the computer, right? Like, can't trust it, don't know what it is. Um, it's evil, and there's all this fudding about computer and tech. Yet, whoever decided to invest in Microsoft and Apple and you know HP and all of those different companies were really, really, really happy about themselves, right? Despite all that FUD, same opportunity is afforded to us right now. Some people are going to be waiting around. They can't, people say that it's a scam or whatever. And then once all the laws and all the infrastructure is in place, institutional money is going to come in. And guess what? Everybody else is going to be now buying when the institutional money's in, and then all the news people are going to say, "Oh, Bitcoin's this high. This is everything's so high," and all the news is going to be positive, and that's when we're going to sell, and that's when institutions are going to sell, and we're going to be really happy with ourselves. So yeah, sorry, a little long-winded, but high inflation, good for crypto. Okay, okay. H bar is high inflation rate. Um, I don't know that it has a high inflation rate. I know that they just lowered the amount of staking money that they would give you for staking with them. Um, I don't think I'm really worried about inflation rate for Hedera. Just like I'm not worried about inflation rate for Casper. If you really look at these guys and who they're connected to, you're gonna know they're gonna be used. They're gonna be used heavily. Um, so inflation rate's not gonna matter that much. They're gonna adjust it as they need to, just like they adjusted the amount they give for staking. So no, that doesn't bother me as much. What really does, let's bring Kadira up. What really does give me confidence is that Hedera is connected to all these different companies that are backbones to the infrastructure of our financial system. Okay. Case in point, that company that just got connected to FedNow, that drop company. Hedera is connected to them. So they're going to be connected to FedNow, IBM, which shout out to, I think, is OMC viewer. OMC, he said something like 80% of the world's existing or of America's existing financial system is run by IBM. So Hedera is connected to these guys heavily with their Hedera consensus protocol. Okay. T-Mobile, Google, LG, Boeing, all these companies that are backbones to the world's technology, Hedera's governed by. Okay, so that's the part that's like, okay, great, Dell, rumors about Sony, right? There's just, yeah, so very, very, very high on Hedera. What's up? What's the Rob B? What's up? It's XRP fork, right? H bar. I do not. H bar is like its own thing. XLM is unless you meant XLM. XLM, I believe, is a XRP fork. Online Hustle University, XRP or XLM. Which one do you think will get us the biggest multiplier? Again, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't want to be anybody's financial advisor. It's really hard to say with that because they have two different purposes. But I think right now, you're probably going to get the better bang for your buck for XLM right now. That would just be my thought right now. Yeah, I think you get the better bang for your buck right now with XRP or excuse me XLM. However, instead of just picking one horse in the race, I would encourage you, or it's up to you. If it was my portfolio, let me put it that way. If it was for my portfolio, I choose to diversify. But in that diversification, you could say, okay, I got some money, 60. I'm going to do a 60-40 split. 60 will go to XLM, 40 will go to XRP instead of just banking on one horse. Or you can do it, you can check out this video on the channel. I did something where it was like, if I had 15K, how would I split that up a month? I chose to split that 15K up into 20% increments. So that meant I invested in 5 cryptos. I did it in 25% increments, which were 4 cryptos, and then 20% increments, which were 5 cryptos. So check that out on the channel. I think if you just come over here and put 15K. Now, again, this is what I would do. I'm not your financial advisor. Anything that you do is on you. Okay. What's up, Nerd Up Inc. Marv? Oh, we're definitely going below 20K again before the end of the year. I bet money. Okay, bro. Okay, bro. That's high confidence, bro. I love it. Hey, if we do, I'm all about it. I'm all about that life. Gonna put some powder to the side so that I can take advantage of it. There's absolutely no volume and no money. Macro has been pointing this direction for months. Gotcha. Debt all-time highs. People can't afford to buy homes. Major job cuts coming. Commercial real estate about to wreck majority of mid small size banks. Big money players. Wow, great information there. Okay, there we go. Big money players won't bring in their clients at these prices, but they'll drive down to give better entries. There's no retail money coming in anytime soon, for sure. I agree with that. Yeah, and like we just saw with the chart here, Bitcoin is high on the RSI. we're probably going to have to get down to these areas, right? Before it comes back up. So, but how far we get, hey, who knows, right? Who knows? Who knows? But I just want to not caution you guys. I want you guys to know that look at it as a bargain and not a panic thing that, oh my gosh, is Bitcoin never going to make it or whatever. It's a bargain because we know what's happening 2024, 2025. So look at it as a bargain. I think it's really funny. On BitBoy's channel, they had Mark Yusko on. Let me see if I can find that right quick. Let me get rid of our share right quick. Let me bring that up. So I think it's pretty funny the way that Mark Yusko mentioned some things. Let me see if I can find it. I think I got it here. We might take a listen to this right quick. He mentioned it somehow like when you have a Black Friday sale, people will run to the stores for like 20% off. But if Bitcoin's like 20% off, people are thinking they need to sell. So I thought that was pretty interesting analogy that he had there. Let me see if I can get to that point of the video here. Okay, let's listen to this. Listen to a couple minutes of it. Okay, let's see. Got my volume up, and then we'll cut the sharing back on here. Okay.
All those things that came at me all these years. And, one of my good friends has this great line about investing. He says, with every investment, we get richer or wiser, never both. So, we learn from our mistakes and we rebound from them. So,
let me pause. Normal speed. That's so slow. Let's do 1.5 in true Black Root fashion. Let's go.
I just been a good survivor all these years.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think, I think the first time you really jumped onto my radar was an interview that you did on Crypto Banter. It must have been 6 months, or it's probably about a year ago. And you made my favorite comment, which I've parroted time and time again, which is when we talk about the difference between asset classes and how, you made the mention of if dresses go on sale, think about Black Friday in America. People run over each other to get a 20% discount, but you see something like the best emerging asset class in the history of the world go on sale, AKA markets are pulling back and people run from it until it gets very expensive again. So what would you say to people in the space, whether they've been in a day, a month, or 10 years? Because emotions never go away. The struggle with trying to make smart decisions never goes away. It's all about the strategies we put in place. But what would you say to somebody that's fighting off the boredom right now and they're so frustrated with the markets? How do they contend with that and look at this like it's on sale, or allocate their strategy in a way that serves them?
Yeah, it is the $64 trillion question. And the line is that investing is the only business I know. I've been doing this a long time. It's the only business I know where things go on sale, everyone runs out of the store. And the cheaper the price, the further they run. To your point, in every other business, you put something on sale, people will run over each other to get it. But in investing, for whatever reason, when the prices start going down, people run away. I find this cycle will get exacerbated and get exaggerated. And then when price exceeds fair value by so much, investors turn around and say, I'm out. I'm going to rebalance. Because if I bought it early, now my weighting is really high relative to my...
Oh, yeah. So that was the part that I want you guys to see. And it's so true. It's so true. People will get so scared, right? When they see things going down, but you have to really remember the whole principle of rhythm. You really have to trust in your research, and know where like have a plan of where you're exiting, right? And we're having the plan of the next year's halving. That plan has not changed just because Bitcoin is down like $3,000, and it won't change if it goes down to 19. Will you have those like kind of emotions get to you, claw at you? Yes, you will. You'll have that claw at you, okay? But you have to stay strong and remember what's going to happen. What's going to happen around 24, 25. And every year they come out with news stories to try to convince you that what you know is going to happen is not going to happen. But it's going to happen, okay? It's going to happen. And just like I've showed you on these couple charts with things like Litecoin, with things like XLM, it's happened 8 years in a row now. So it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. Why? Because that is the cycle of things. Okay? That is the cycle of things. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. That 2021 bull run was fueled by free money and people paid to stay home. Now that money is gone now, 100%. But this bull run seems like it's going to be fueled by more institutional money, which is great, because that money's probably going to stay around a lot longer. Which reminds me, okay, maybe we watch a little bit more of this, because Yusko says something, and he's very, I don't know if it's Yusko. My apologies for butchering your name if I am, Mark. He says something very to the point that futures, and he's not the only one who said it. Shout out to Bitcoin Zay and King. They've said it before. Bitcoin futures have actually made the market go back. And he acknowledges that as market manipulation. Like, I love it that he says that he, being a hedge fund guy, he acknowledges that that's manipulation. So let's listen a little bit longer here.
Anticipated desired weighting, and so I'm going to sell. Well, that triggers the downward momentum. Then the short sellers come in and they push it back down, and then people get margin called, and we get the collapse. But that's when the cycle starts all over.
Let me ask you a question here. I want to shout out especially to everybody from the Bit Squad that's still. I want to shout out especially to the Bit Squad, watching this, and I want to invite you over to the BitLab Academy to watch the full length of this interview, because it will continue on for another 30 or 40 minutes. So definitely come over there. Before we let the Bit Squad go.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, if you guys feel so inclined, definitely go over there and watch the full interview. We're just going to watch this part here.
I wanted to ask your perception on, or perspective, I should say, on the cascading, just overwhelming best news in the history of Bitcoin. Some people think about all these spot ETFs sort of cascading, and especially I think everybody talking about BlackRock. Do you think, you talked about this sort of, I don't even call it immaturity, but I'll call it the immaturity of the investors in the Bitcoin and crypto space. Do you think that as the stamp of approval effectively has come from Larry Fink and BlackRock and institutions and smart money and real professional traders are coming in, do you think that that's going to change the dynamic of how the price action moves, because there's going to be a little bit more maturity coming into the space? Or do you think it's going to move in parity with, as those new people come in, also the awareness of Bitcoin and crypto is going to exponentially grow, so we're still going to bring in a lot of people that have no idea what's going on either? Like, how do you contend with the change once institutions are involved?
Go from the originators to the early adopters to the early majority, and then you have this inflection point. And I think we're about at that inflection point. Because the first 4 years, I don't really count them, because it was kind of a science experiment, and there was like 7 people involved. And last 10 years, it's real. And
right.
So
especially this whole last cycle too. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're at that inflection point, and yes, institutions theoretically are better decision makers than retail individuals. The problem is a lot of institutions suffer the same problem because they're run by small groups of humans. And those groups tend to make equally bad decisions. The pension funds in particular have a long history of being just as bad as individual investors. So I don't know that the institutional money coming in is going to be quite the panacea that everybody thinks. The thing I think is interesting is
I got to pause you there for just 1 second, just because this came into my mind, and I think you'd be the best person to ask this. A lot of people that I talk to are also wondering, along with institutions, if they're so traditionally long time horizon investors, is there going to be a weird sort of dynamic of trying to figure, especially because this is an emerging market, are they still going to be long time horizon investors, or are they going to be hedging and taking percentage? Like, are they going to be trying to buy near bottoms, or, a confirmed start of a bull market and starting to, to level, layer out near a top, effectively potentially truncating an exponential growth cycle, or them being involved? It's kind of a question.
Again, another good question that's complex in the sense that not all institutions are the same, right? There are long duration investors like endowments, foundations, some pension plans. There are shorter duration institutions. I mean, BlackRock would be that, right? An ETF is not a long-term investor, right? It's a daily liquid, tick-by-tick liquid asset that the institution, BlackRock, doesn't make the decision. It's the masses come in, the masses go out, assets go in. Look at ARK, right? It can go, lots of money can go in, lots of money can come out. Now, the scary thing to me is despite losing more money than she made, more money still going in to that ETF. So I don't really understand that. But the institutions are very varied. And if institutions like Citadel, right, which are the ultimate high frequency traders and day traders, come in, they have a fractional of a second hold period versus, Yale might say, I want to hold this for 10 years, or I might say, I want to hold this.
I just want to point out something that he said. This is very true. Like, now, Cathie Wood, I like Cathie Wood, but a lot of her ETFs did flush, like he's saying. They did flush. So a lot of ARK Invest investments you can look back on now, like they've completely dumped. But ARK Invest is no longer in those investments. So I think they actually did make money, but at the course of whom? Retail. So that's why I always caution people, like, yes, Cathie Wood and her team are very, very smart people, but you got to understand, like, your retail, and really they kind of want to play us. Okay. So use caution when you're getting information from certain people, and you just have to weigh certain people, certain companies. You have to weigh all information. You cannot assume you have to weigh all information. Okay. And so what he's saying about ARK Invest is so true. You can look at some of their investments, some of the things that they invested in now that have completely dried out, like the genomic stocks, some of the electric vehicle stocks, some of the like play to earn gaming stocks, like completely. So just caution with some of these stock investments. That's why I very, very, very much love crypto. But again, he's about to get into the whole thing with BlackRock and futures trading and stuff like that.
This for a decade in my venture capital fund, which we do. So very different. And the other thing that I think is interesting is this is not new. We've seen this before. GBTC was the perfect analogy. We know what happens when a institution, right? GBTC was a Cayman trust. That is an institutional pool funded with all of this other individual retail money. Now, it couldn't be retail at first because you had to be a qualified purchaser, and then qualified investor, and then you had to buy it in the private markets. But then a year later, you could sell. So then people could trade it in their PA. Well, what happened? We hit the $10,000 fair value, and then we went ballistic. I mean, we went straight up, and everybody's like, "Oh, that was Michael Saylor and this." No, that was GBTC getting bought every day. Their asset base went from nothing, literally nothing, to I think 20+ billion at the peak. And the thing about the people forget is when the asset was 200 billion, and 20 billion.
So GBTC is a Grayscale Trust. It's like the first Bitcoin trust or ETF actually out there. Since they couldn't have a Bitcoin ETF, they made a OTC stock and called it a trust. It's just like he's saying, it's one of the first like institutional monies to be injected into Bitcoin, and it skyrocketed. Yeah.
Comes in, you're like, oh, it's not that much. No, it wasn't 200 billion. At least 150 billion of that 200 billion was never going to move. It was the lost or stolen, and the stranded, and the hodlers, and the people who are still accumulating. It was maybe 50 billion of free float, 20 billion on 50. That's going to put some serious pressure. Now we got this again. We got a $500 billion asset, and 100 billion of it is probably the free float. We're talking about 30 billion. If 0.1% of the 30 trillion of assets that are engaged in ETFs, is according to Eric Balkunis, who's an interesting analyst, 30 billion on 100, that'll move the price. But what if he's wrong? What if it's 1%? What if advisors like, I have an advisor and I haven't been allowed because, UBS doesn't allow you to own anything crypto related. When this thing gets approved and it's a BlackRock fund, they're going to have to let it be approved. They're not going to be able to say no longer. And then I'm going to put at least 1%. And if everybody puts 1%, now you're talking.
That's the thing that we have to know about right there. That's the thing that's very important because people like him cannot invest yet. And pretty soon, once that ETF is allowed, then those institutional investors can invest. And that's going to inject a lot of money into Bitcoin. Let me go back a couple seconds here. I'm clicking on stuff, but for whatever reason, it's not like working. That's why you keep seeing me change the screen like this. That's not intentional.
Kunis, who's an interesting analyst, 30 billion on 100, that'll move the price. But what if he's wrong? What if it's 1%? What if advisors like, I have an advisor and I haven't been allowed because, UBS doesn't allow you to own anything crypto related. When this thing gets approved and it's a BlackRock fund, they're going to have to let it be approved. They're not going to be able to say no longer. And then I'm going to put at least 1%. And if everybody puts 1%, now you're talking 300 billion on 100 billion of free float. That'll move price a lot. So, but the other part of your question that's really, really insightful is those institutions also hedge. So we've seen that, right? When the futures ETF was released 2 years ago, prices started to go down. Well, wait a minute, I thought people were buying Bitcoin.
Yeah.
No, they weren't. They were buying paper representations of what could have been a Bitcoin, but there was no physical demand for spot. And the big banks were shorting, which is what they do in futures markets where there's the ability to create paper goods. Oil markets, gold markets, silver markets, palladium markets, all these markets have an element of manipulation, which is the word that, Chairman Gensler likes to focus on. Like, dude, you think the crypto market or Bitcoin market is manipulated? Have you looked at the triple leveraged VIX ETF lately? You want to talk about manipulation, or the ETNs that trade in agricultural futures, or gold? GLD has been spoofed for years.
Hey, Mark, I'm going to pause you right there because we're going to wrap up the BitBoy stream.
So that was very insightful. That last 2 minutes or whatever was very, very insightful. And for him to kind of admit manipulation with the futures market and it really makes me believe this guy's like pretty straight shooter. But yeah, that's what we're looking for. That when hedge funds or VCs like this guy can invest, and that is going to happen once this BlackRock ETF is approved. Okay, and that will be 2024. So understand, like, no matter what foot they're throwing at us, what we're waiting for is institutions to be able to put their 1% in. Let's just play that one more time.
We're going to move. It was the lost or stolen and the stranded and the hodlers and the people who are still accumulating. It was maybe 50 billion of free float, 20 billion on 50. That's going to put some serious pressure. Now we got this again. We got a $500 billion asset, and 100 billion of it is probably the free float. We're talking about 30 billion. If 0.1% of the 30 trillion of assets that are engaged in ETFs, is according to Eric Balkunis, who's an interesting analyst, 30 billion on 100, that'll move the price. But what if he's wrong? What if it's 1%? What if advisors like, I have an advisor and I haven't been allowed because, UBS doesn't allow you to own anything crypto related. When this thing gets approved and it's a BlackRock fund, they're going to have to let it be approved. They're not going to be able to say no longer. And then I'm going to put at least 1%. And if everybody puts 1%, now you're talking 300 billion on 100 billion of free float. That'll move price a lot. So, but the other part of your question that's really...
That's what we're waiting on, right? So keep that in mind when the fear hits, right? Keep that in mind when the fear hits. What's up, Shiny Gudra? If the support breaks down, it'll go down hard. But there is possibility of a pump on like June, like on June 16ish. Think we'll bounce a little, then we'll chop through November. And we'll see max pain through in November, December. Just my thoughts. But you got to stick with your guns, or you'll never make it. I can be wrong. Well, for me, there's always going to be a little bit on the side to in case we go a little bit lower, things that I like to look at are the new moons, the moon cycles, and the eclipses. We have eclipse coming up. Let's see, eclipse. So we have an eclipse coming up in October. Also, keep in mind though that BRICS summit is coming up on the 22nd. We'll see how that goes. That's another like kind of real big kind of thing to look at. But here we have October 14th, we got a solar eclipse, and then October 28th through 29th, we got a lunar eclipse. So these are going to be two big kind of moments to check out and see what the hell's going on, right? Not only to mention like what are the moon phases doing at that point in time. So those are very, very interesting points always to watch. And I've shown you guys countless of times how you can look at the moon phases and see it correlates with how Bitcoin is moving. And shout out to Waters Above for that. Let's see here. So we got, where is it? Oh, that's 2022. Let's move the calendar to 2023. Boom. Okay, so again, we got the second full moon coming up in August. It's on the 30th. And around here, we got a full moon on 28th, which is when the lunar eclipse is happening. So basically, end of the month this year, we have those full moon phases coming up. And new moons towards the middle of the month. So those are going to be the parts that we need to watch out for. Again, if we go, let's go to Bitcoin. Let's go on the day chart. It's moving a little slowly. Let me close this. We close this. Close this. You see, are you guys? I don't know. It's freezing up a little bit. So let me go down the questions here. Continue. What's up, Heavy Productions? Yeah, I'm in my feelings right now. What's up, Heavy Productions? I know, man. They get you like that, man. They get you like that. It's not just you, bro. Last time Bitcoin ETF launched, it marked the top. Funny how a lot of people act like the ETF will raise the price. Yep. It's exactly what Yusko was talking about there. What's up, Bitcoin Shango? What's up, Crypto in Focus? My take on Friendtech. Who's Friendtech? What's Friendtech? Let me know. Let me know. Give me a little bit more information on that, Crypto in Focus. If not, if you're in a meeting right now, if you can just actually put that in our Telegram. I know you're in Telegram too. I'll get to it, but I'm not so sure what you mean by that. If you have time to message again or message it in Telegram, I will love to look that up. I have no problem. Bitcoin Futures ETF was approved on November 21st, and it helped mark the top. Got you, Ace. Yep. That's what I said before. The futures ETF don't even hold the asset. Yep, it's just paper. Yep, and that's one of the things that Bitcoin Zay and King have talked about as well, right? So that was some really plus information from Yusko there, and but the thing I like to focus on from that information is after BlackRock gets its ETF, these guys that are legally not able to invest, these VCs and whatnot, will now have the ability to invest. So that's going to inject a lot more new money in. What's up, Elright Senior? Oh my gosh, my thing, I missed it. Okay, there we go. You really believe those big players are not already invested? I know for a fact Mark is. I'm pretty sure he's just talking about what a hedge fund can offer. Yeah, I think big players are invested, but again, yeah, I don't think that their hedge funds are allowed to. Yeah. So yeah, big players I believe are invested. You got the Michael Saylors of the world and whatnot. Um, but actually having to have their institutions put the money that's not theirs in, that's what I'm talking about. That's going to be huge. Because you notice he said like I'm an advisor. So so yeah, so now they can actually put other people's money in. Hopefully, come 2024. So yeah, I think he's invested, but now in 2024, once BlackRock's approved, uh, he can put other people's money in that he's advising, right? It's a protocol you can buy shares of your favorite influencer. Okay, gotcha. Friend Tech, just like BitCloud. There's a couple of those that are out here. Like DSO is one. There's another one called like I can't remember it. There's a couple of those out here. I'll have to take a look at that. Can you go into a little bit more about the moon phases? For sure, for sure. Um, and that's what we were gonna get into, but it like kind of froze up over on me over here. Um, so here's Bitcoin. Let's give it a couple things so we can see the most stuff here. Let's look at the day chart here. Okay, and then let's do this. Let's even get rid of the GAN fan for now. And then let's bring up this in Silico's 4 seasons. And it doesn't have it. Let me change these settings. So it'll look better. Let's make this. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, so and it's a lot more clear here. So full moon, we got going all the way up till we hit a new moon. Then we have some pullback. New moon, some pullback. Full moon up, and you can just kind of see the outlines of it. It's not 100%, but you can see it here that it tends to move on. Can I stretch that out? There we go. it tends to move in points related to the moon cycles. And it's something, again, this is another rhythm that we see in life too, because it said that crazy things tend to happen on full moons, right? They say that hospitals get more patients on full moons, and more accidents tend to happen on full moons, and ladies' cycles are linked to the full moon. So it makes a lot of sense that even um, the cycle of different investment products would be linked to the moon. And then there's also all, like, we could go like for real deep with this, yo, because a lot of law is based on maritime law. Maritime being water, and again, moon. Uh, the moon controls the tides. Again, another water thing. Currency, currencies like related to water. Currency. The word currency. Ripple. So there's a lot of water when referencing currency, money. A lot of it has to do with things based on water, which is why hence we got the name Ripple for that company. That's not a coincidence. Um, so Bitcoin tends to move with moon cycles, as other things in reference to waters, like a lady's cycle, moves, right? So that's just what it is, right? And again, that goes into hermetic principles. There's a whole like occult, like quote unquote conspiracy side of that. It's not conspiracy because it's actually true, but I have to use that word because that's what people understand it as, right? And then that gets into other things like the equinoxes and the eclipses. But needless to say, this is it right here where you can see it chart wise, right? Yeah, I agree. It's a long term bullish sign. Uh, Chit chat and learning with Black Roo is my new Saturday morning cartoon entertainment. Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, I agree with you on that. They should allow people to put retirement funds into BTC more easily, and I believe that's what's coming up to with this ETF thing. Also, they will be able to do that as well. I like your insights. Thank you for the knowledge. No worries. So yeah, friend tech. There was one other one that was similar to that. Let me bring up my thing. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but DSO I know does that for sure. Um, and DSO might be ahead of those guys. I've never heard of friend tech before yet, but let me. There's one. It was something like X something, Exacto or something. There's another one of those out there. I just can't think of it off the top of my head. That might have been it right there with the smile, right? Is it this one? Only friends. Okay, it must be this one. Does the coin exist yet? Let me go to DSO though. Let me see, because there's one other one like DSO. I just can't remember it off the top of my head. And maybe if they have like some categories, some tags where I can look, it'll show me. Like DSO did all the things they needed to do to get listed on Coinbase. Okay, let's see. This should be it. Communications and social media. Maybe that'll give me what I'm talking about here. XCAD. That was the one. XCAD. So it's a good little list of them right here. Ali, that was one we were looking at for AI, and they do like AI virtual assistants, but guess these guys would be tops, right? DSO, XCAD, Mask. I haven't heard of Mask before. I haven't really looked into those guys. This is an interesting list. LimeWire, interesting. Isn't this on Hedera or Algorand or one of those? Yeah, let's go over here. FinTech is new and all the influencers are killing it. They basically want you to buy their shares. Ace, I'm not touching it, but an interesting case study. It's on base. Okay, got you. Yeah. All of that. Agreed with all of you guys on that one. Yeah, be interesting to look at though. It'll just be interesting to look at. But cool, guys. Whoa. Don't know what happened there. All right, guys. So thanks for coming through, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. You can find me next on Tuesday. I'll be going live at 6 o'clock, and then Wednesday at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. But be sure to catch me again next Saturday at 9:30, at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you guys so much for coming through. Have a good one. Peace. I'm out.